From New York City streets to the cosmic highways and byways of the universe, Peter Parker has traveled far and long for what very well might be his most challenging adventure to date. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue number 13 and find out what happens next together, shall we? Alrighty then, so as we return to the adventures of the totally spaced out Spider-Man, it seems that Peter has totally thrown himself into the role of high-flying, free-willing, and dealing space pirate. Him, Rocket Raccoon, and their ragtag team of alien test subjects liberated from the lab of Xanto Starblood are already getting themselves into a heap of trouble. This was supposed to be a simple infiltration job where Peter and his team would get inside a vault belonging to a megacorp. But unfortunately, Rocket is pretty quick with his trigger finger, and it seems that the security here is a lot different and a lot tighter than they were expecting. But how the hell did we get to this situation, you might be wondering? Well, the wraparound story for this issue is a series of flashbacks wherein we get to see the answers to just that. It seems that after Peter had liberated Dr. Xanto Starblood specimens, they were all understandably royally pissed, no more so than Rocket, who has a long and tragic history of being experimented on. They all thought that they should kill Starblood in retaliation, but Peter, ever the good-hearted hero, decided to step on in and stop these guys from becoming murderers. It's also here we meet the next member of our team, Raylith the Wretched. She's a lizard woman who thinks that Rocket isn't actually going far enough and that they shouldn't just kill Starblood, they should torture him too. In fact, she knows several very fun and interesting ways. Now, in the field, Raylith proves to be equally as creative, helping the team take out a giant mech that was bearing down on them. I guess we could call her the Gamora stand-in of this not-quite Guardians of the Galaxy team. Now, Starblood tries to make a case for himself, saying that no matter what he ended up doing later, he did in fact rescue everyone on his ship, including Peter. They were lost, they were adrift. Their lives were already forfeit, so why not use their lives for the betterment of science? Yeah, this guy isn't exactly good at working a room, is he? Thankfully, Peter very much is, and ends up hitting all of his angry new alien friends with a spin on the classic "with great power comes great responsibility." He says murder, no matter how cathartic, is actually justice at all, and that justice is chosen by those who are in charge, and because they're in charge now, they're going to do better. This also means that Starblood has to take orders from them, including joining the away party to get into this big scuffle with all of these hostile aliens. I guess that makes him the Drax X muscle of this team too, with the added dimension of not actually knowing whether or not he's going to betray everyone at some point. Though, hey, speaking of betrayal, turns out the guy in charge of this station, the one who's directing all the grunts, is actually none other than Black Dwarf, leg breaker for Thanos and the Black Order. All the other aliens start shaking in their boots and start trying to cut their own deals to save their skins. Dwarf wasn't even supposed to be here right now, but everything has changed because of the events of Imperial. The big Hickman cosmic event, if you weren't sure. Basically, the galactic governments have broken down and space is even more Wild West than it's normally shown in the Marvel Universe. In fact, this is part of the big reason why Rocket and the others were really pushing back against Peter for wanting to try and take a gentler hand in dealing with Starblood. These are bad old days, all or nothing days. Peter may have come from a planet of laws, a planet of justice, but the galaxy just isn't that anymore. And you know what? The book actually does a pretty good job tricking you into thinking that maybe, just maybe, that kind of thinking has rubbed off on Spider-Man as he very bravely charges into battle against Black Dwarf, using the same weapon that Starblood used to try and kill him in the previous issue. You think, oh man, is Peter's morality really going to succumb to this new messed up place that he's forced to be living in right now? But no, actually, he ends up winning the day with a little assistance from a cute little symbiote by the name of Symbie. This thing, of course, filling the role of merchandisable, adorable team pet. Spider-Man and Symbie actually end up pulling off one hell of a combo move against Black Dwarf. The symbiote gets inside the hulking brute's body, and Spider-Man electrocutes it from the inside out, defeating Black Dwarf and winning the day. Peter and his ragtag crew complete their mission, robbing this Corpo planet's vault before eventually even dropping off one of the test subject aliens on his home planet. Apparently, Peter and Rocket say this is going to be their new modus operandi moving forward, traveling the galaxy, getting into into adventures, putting right what went wrong and hopefully making it so that everyone who was a victim of Starblood gets a little bit of justice. Now you might be wondering to yourself, why isn't Spider-Man rushing back to Earth? Rocket even asked him this directly. Only for Peter to completely turn the question back on Rocket by saying we all have our secrets, and it's probably for the same reason why you haven't decided to put a call out to Drax and Gamora. So yeah, plenty of secrets and drama to go around for everyone, right? And as the comic comes to a close, we see that Peter actually had an ulterior motive for having Starblood spared. Not just because it was the right heroic thing to do, but also because Peter says he still very much needs the Doctor's help to get stronger, because until he is stronger, he can't return home. And it's on that note right there the comic comes to a close, everyone, and so that was Amazing Spider-Man issue 13, everyone, and once again, I am genuinely shocked and surprised by how much I actually ended up liking this. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything, it's not like one of the best comics I've read this week, but it's far and away probably the most interesting and compelling the mainline Spider-Man book has been in a long time, and yeah, I know, to think all it took to get there was just saying, hey, what if Spider-Man was the Guardians of the Galaxy for a minute? I kid, of course. Yes, on the surface, that's what it looks like, but thankfully there is some more interesting stuff going on under the surface. For starters, I am genuinely fascinated by this idea that in space, Spider-Man no longer needs to mind his dual identity. Peter Parker and Spider-Man are finally able to move as one, where normally on Earth, the Peter Parker persona would end up suffering because the Spider-Man persona had to do good. Here, they're just doing good all the time. The crew of supporting characters is pretty fun too, made up of a lot of new characters as well as some returning faces like Starblood and Rocket Raccoon. So far, the rest seem pretty archetypical for this sort of sci-fi adventure, but you know what, I'm confident that Joe Kelly will maybe offer up some new depths as the story progresses. Furthermore, it's also nice to see a mainline Spider-Man book so affected by what's going on somewhere else in the Marvel Universe, mainly what Hickman is doing with Imperial. It makes it so this isn't just a Spider-Man goes to space story, but it's Spider-Man goes to space at probably one of the worst points in time for Marvel space. There are no governments, no empires, everyone hates each other, and all the bad guys are desperately trying to carve a little piece of the cosmic pie for themselves. Geez, sure sounds like they could use another hero, sure sounds like they could use Spider-Man, and Spider-Man they definitely got. Now, I am, as always, cautiously optimistic. Plenty of people have pointed out to me in the comments section, geez, Joel, you know, we've been down this road before where you like something new Spider-Man does only for it to fall on its face all over again. And well, yes, that certainly still could end up happening. For what it's worth, I'm going to enjoy the good times while I can, like I did enjoy this issue, which is why I give it a 7.5 out of 10. I know, I'm surprised too. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, you know, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.